Welcome to Diversity Conversations, where we engage in thought-provoking dialogue to identify leadership solutions to today's most challenging conflicts. Stream live each week, Saturday 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Hosted by Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist and CEOs Eric Ellis and Tommy Lewis. Join us and add your voice to this engaging diversity conversation.
Good morning, Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, the United States, and the world. My name is Eric Ellis, and I'm the president and CEO of Integrity Development Corporation. And I'm joined this morning by my good friend and brother,
Tommy Lewis, president and CEO of Make It Plain Consulting. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Tommy. Making it plain.
Making it plain because it's making it rain outside.
That's exactly right, man. And I tell you, I'm just going to be a moment of truth here. I was really trying to lay out today. I was trying to play hooky. So I wrote a little text early in the morning. I'll tell you why I was trying to play hooky. My baby girl has moved to Chicago. And so my whole family, Tommy, went to Chicago yesterday. She took all her brothers so they can move her in. Yeah. And so one of the birdies has finally left the nest. So I was just there at the house. It was raining outside, and me and the dog was there by ourselves.
Howling.
Yeah. The dog was saying, I got elevated because the whole family's gone. So I wrote Tommy a text like, Tommy, should we do a rerun today? And I tell you, Tommy sent back the sweetest text. It was like, hey, Eric, that's an option. But I also could go solo, or we could do a rerun or do it virtually. And so it's just so sweet. And I just really appreciated that. But I'm grateful that he pushed me to roll out because I have this blessed opportunity to be with you all today.
Well, thank you, Eric, for the kind words. I will say also, selfishly, when I received your text, I was down at the office, and I had been at the office since 5 o'clock this morning. So I have a proposal that's due on Monday. Okay. And my mind woke me up. I said, let me scurry down to the office.
That's right.
Try to put some things together. When the sun hasn't come up yet, there's some peace. There's a little wind coming in.
Ooh, I like that.
I put on some meditation music, kind of ambient noise, if you will, and it gets me thinking and moving. So when I got your text, I was thinking, I'm already up and at 'em.
Right.
Let's go. So it's good. Steel sharpens steel.
Yes, it does.
Steel sharpens steel. So it's a blessing to be connected with someone like you, Eric, my brother, and others who not only receive, but they give a lot of themselves, a lot of their spirit, their energy, human resources, financial resources, even just space. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to really capsulize with my comments is giving one space can create that sense of inclusion and that sense of belonging.
Right. And today we want to focus on sense of belonging. And I'd like to start with, I had a chance to go to Dayton, Ohio yesterday and watch Winton Woods, Carlton Gray's, the head coach there, watch them win the state championship. Yep, they won the state championship yesterday, Tommy, and I was there, man. And I tell you, it was one of the most powerful things I've ever seen in terms of sense of belonging. Anybody that knows Carlton Gray knows there's three things about Carlton. If you know him as a coach, you know. Number one, he's brilliant. He was a sport athlete in high school. Yeah. He was phenomenal. He went to UCLA, I think, and was All-American there. Went to the NFL, played 9 years in the NFL. But as a coach, he demands a lot of his athletes, but they also know he loves them deeply. And so when I watched him yesterday, I watched him the last 3 weeks. And last week, they played this little team, Big Town, whatever they were from some country town. This team was smoking them, Tommy. They came out the gates 20-5. Wow. Just smoking them. Little girls just bam, everybody shooting threes from everywhere. Just shell shot. And I said, 20-5. And then, it was like they were all white and his team was all black. So, you might get some of that officiating that ain't working in your favor. So they got a little bit of that too. Yeah. And they were down at 10 by half. They were down at 10 at the end of the third quarter. They were down by 10 at the fourth quarter. But Tommy, they just kept on being that little train that could. And Carlton presses the team the whole way. At the end, their tongues were done. They took them into overtime and then beat them.
Wow.
And everybody was saying then the biggest game in the state was them against Anthony Wayne yesterday.
Yep.
Anthony Wayne had 3 or 4 6-footers. Had 2 starting guards, twins going to Villanova.
Wow.
These girls are cold. They just draining it. Like you leave them open, bam, got you. But I'm telling you what, when Woods had something for him yesterday. They super freshman. Now I've heard she was a super freshman. I haven't seen that yet. I saw it yesterday.
Oh.
Yesterday, they had scouted the team so well that the girl that was guarding the freshman said, no, my coach told me I can torch you every single time. Doop, boom. Every time. Doop, boom. Every time. To the bucket.
Yep.
She had 13 points in the first quarter.
Yep.
Just torching that little girl. And they really had them almost handled the whole way. But here's what I want to say to you all about a sense of belonging. Like I said, Carlton's not an easy guy to play for because he has high expectations. He trains them to be superstars. And at the end of the game, a couple things happened that I was just observing. Number one, Carlton, the look on his face was, we're done? Like, I still have to prepare. I have to scout for the next. No, you've climbed the mountain.
Yeah.
You're standing on top all by yourself. It's over, baby.
Made it to the top.
It's over. You've won. And then the other thing, Tommy, I just tell you, I'll never forget this look on their senior's face, number 33. She had the ball and the seconds were ticking off the clock. They were up by 15 points. And literally you could just freeze frame it, Tommy.
Yeah.
Her eyes were just as big as the sky. And it was this feeling of, we're winning the state championship. I mean, all the oxygen went out of her body.
Yep.
And all these girls piled on each other, man. And I'll tell you, I've never seen anything quite like that. And I think the boys' football team was there. They had won the state. And so the girls ran to them and they all hugged. And I just looked at that, man, and wept on the inside.
Wow.
About the times that we're living in when so much anxiety and stress that people are going through, to see these young people of color, be able to be euphoric around we did it.
Yeah, yeah. Eric, that was a fantastic story. Congratulations to Whitten Woods. That's school in Southwest Ohio. As Eric mentioned, Carlton Gray, a former NFL football player, great athlete, a great academic.
1400 SAT.
Yep, 1400.
Brilliant.
And a great person.
Yeah.
Right? I had my time playing against Carlton.
Right. I figured y'all
many times.
Right.
And so a big shout out, because if you've ever experienced a championship, the road to get there is difficult. It's arduous.
Right.
It is all encompassing, and it really takes a lot out of you as you are on the journey.
Yeah.
And like you, Eric, I've won a championship, and literally I was outside of myself. So the young lady that was holding the ball with seconds ticking down, and just the air, and she's out of herself. It's a flow of, we're about to win the championship. The work that we put in, the coach, our assistant coaches, our families were right. It landed us here. If you put in the hardest work, get some breaks, take advantage, have resilience. Yep.
You can beat the whole way last week, the entire way, and you literally have to close the gap. And I'll say even one thing, that bias can be in officiating, unfortunately. And one of the refs was going toward bias last week. But I saw Steve, the assistant coach. Steve went to him, and I just watched him because he was getting hosed. And Steve put his hands behind his back so as to not be threatening or intimidating. And he started smiling at him and saying, come on, rep, let the girls play.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, and they got a critical call after that from that ref. He called a fair call. And that ended up making the difference. I told Steve, it's the little thing.
It's the little thing.
I said, Steve, I watched you. You weren't yelling at him.
Yeah.
You went over to him respectfully, had him laughing.
Yeah. And
you shared your point of view. I said, that was a difference maker. So
yeah. That is part of ensuring that one belongs.
That's right.
So you have a coach and an official. And the official has some power.
Absolutely. You better respect that.
Has some power. So if you do not respect that, the bias that the authority will have, it will be
kicks right in.
Kicks right in.
I feel justified now in hosing you.
And so now I'm going to show you
who runs this.
Who runs it, right? But if you have the skill to do one of four things or multiple things in communicating area, human beings, you and I, we communicate in four ways. One is verbally, right? And so we can bring people into the space of inclusion and belonging by verbally being inviting to them, inviting them to the conversation, inviting them to the debate, or discourse, verbally. It's an invitation. It's not an attack. The other is nonverbal. So if I have to put my hands behind my back,
non-threatening.
Non-threatening.
Smile on my face.
If I have to put my fingertips together. Again, smiling face. Maybe I have my glasses on. Or my glasses are off right here. Then I'm coming. I may want to bring my glasses down. I'm studious.
Managing all those dynamics.
And then so that's again, that's nonverbal. In a written form, sometimes we have posts or text and things like that. In nonverbal is a timeout like this, or technical is the same gesture, for two different things. And so we have the written form as well. And then we have the fourth way. It's the spiritual. It's the energy.
Come on now.
Where how can we help someone feel included or a sense of belonging by projecting the energy that you are welcomed here.
You are welcomed here. You are welcomed here.
Yeah. So let the girls play. Right.
Tommy, I tell you what, here I watched every little thing. You know, when you get older, you watch a lot. After they had won, I watched the girls that hadn't played a second in the game doing the funky chicken.
Yeah.
Everybody had this euphoric look over their face that I'm a champion. Whether I played all the time or just a few seconds or not at all. And that says a lot when every kid can join into that championship. And I hadn't heard any parents complaining about their kid or anything. They're just honored to be a part of this. And it was just powerful. The last thing I'll say is just an example of what I saw Carlton do differently than coaches that I observed. He had the fantastic freshman that was going off and killing the other team. And she looked like, Tommy, I can remember this when I was young, that sometimes when you feel like you scored too much. And so she was going down the basket to beat her again, but she says, I got too many points. And so she tried to throw it to her teammate, which threw it out of bounds. Carlton, like, timeout. What is you doing, girl?
That's not the plan.
That's not what you should be doing. You just torched your player. And he doesn't accept this, but when he put him back out there, he set up a double screen for her. Double screen. She came off the screen and turned south. Scored right away. That's what a great coach does, is make a kid feel so comfortable, not just in their failures, but in their success, that you are a part of the team when you're adding your biggest, when you're doing, as my kids would say, the big one. When you're doing your big one, that helps all of us.
Let me tell you, Eric, and community, you know this as well. So from a coaching perspective, here's what this looks like. The coach is 3 to 4 steps ahead. If your star player is torching the defender, right? Let that star player keep running,
Keep eating.
keep scoring, right? Because the next of the 3 steps ahead, the next step is that other team will have to make adjustments.
Right.
I'm already there. I'm already anticipating that other team making adjustments.
Right. Now, everybody's open.
So keep running, right?
Yeah.
All right, now, when that other team makes an adjustment, we have an entirely new offense, defense, and team.
Come on now.
So step 2, in the
That's
new
good, Tommy.
team, right?
Right.
Our second or third players are the go-to. They're the primary.
Right.
Second or third. So those 2 players out of the 5. The third step ahead, Eric, is that we have contingencies on the second player and the third.
Right.
So when they adjust to the second player, we're already on the third. If they adjust to the third, we're 4 steps ahead. So in the bigger scheme, the plan, the process, star player number 1, stick to the script. You have to keep doing that,
right?
Because if you get early into a head,
right,
it's going to throw off our plan B, C, and D.
Because you're trying to force something to happen that isn't really naturally happening on its own.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, Tommy, it's almost like you were there. That's exactly what happened. Yeah. And every girl was torching them.
Yeah.
Just stop me, boom, kicked it to her, got you. Yeah. They was getting hit. They didn't look at the refs. They didn't care about nothing. They were adjusting their bodies and still hitting the shot. They put the kind of full court press on them that was just suffocating.
Yeah,
I've never seen as masterful a game against a team, Tommy, that had no intention of losing.
None.
Those girls said, no, we're winners. Me and my sister are going to Villanova.
Come on.
We're going to torch you little girls. You see how big we are? Jolly Green Giants.
Yep.
And those little girls just doop, back.
Yep.
Suffocated them. But so, one last piece of data. Now, you can tell this is my alma mater. I went to Winton Woods back when it's called Forest Park. The team that they played shot 75% in the first half. You know what they shot in the second half?
What?
33.
Oh, my goodness.
Out of gas.
Out of gas.
Big girls, you out of gas now.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're out of gas now. And we just ding, because he played 9 to 10 girls. Because that's the strategy. It's not where you start.
Yep.
It's will you be here at the end?
At the end. Eric, I think that is the story for today. As our community, you're listening to me and Eric having a conversation like we typically do, right? And we always welcome you to this conversation. And please hear conversations through different lenses. Mm-hmm. So you have the athletic lens. These are girls' high school basketball team that won a state championship for the state of Ohio. Mm-hmm. And then you have some lessons that are being taught or shared through the conversation of athletics. In this case, I heard 3 things. 1, resilience. And when the challenge gets great, and you're in the game of life, the game of work, are you truly resilient enough to work toward a championship or success? Number 2, what is winning? At home, at work, in play, what is winning? So if you are a competitor and you like to win, not a sore loser, but you're just not playing to play. You're playing to get better. You're playing to win as an individual, as a team, right? So at work, at home, what is winning?
Right.
And then third is when the rules of the game are changed, right? Do you hang it up? Officiating may be biased.
Right.
The rules change.
Right.
Do you hang it up, or do you literally pivot? Do you pivot, adjust, audible, Omaha, go to a different play?
Right.
We're talking about giving us and others a sense of belonging, where people the sense of belonging is subjective, and people may feel that they have a sense of belonging one day, and the next day they don't.
Right.
If they're in your organization, Eric, and day one, I feel like I belong in Eric's organization, in Tommy's organization, at this X organization. And then the next day you do a 3 or 5 question survey.
Right.
After a bad experience
Right.
or interaction with
Right.
another person. Now, I don't like the person. I don't like the company. I don't even like where I'm going. Instantly, I have a sense of, or a lack of belonging.
Yeah.
Right.
Which affects my performance, my attitude,
all of that.
Yeah.
So how do we work with ourselves and work with others to stay 2 or 3 or 4 steps ahead of folks? Because times are going to get tough. The rules of the game will change, right? And people will be people. Today I felt great, tomorrow I don't. But we have to continue to create the environment that we feel excited, included, happy.
Right. Yep. I love that, Tommy. And so, Roger, we thank you for joining us this morning. And community, we thank you for joining us this morning. We are going to go deeper into this conversation around sense of belonging. But before we do that, Tommy and I things are changing at Diversity Conversations. We are going to be moving into a new location, our new headquarters. We're excited about that. So you will see changes in our set because Tommy and I are always interested in advancing the ball. But we also are designing a new logo for Diversity Conversations. And so I think Lydia has some options background. We're going to bring these up for you to take a look at. These are all quite similar. If you look at these logos, you will see Tommy Lewis and Eric Ellis are in the logo.
Like this, Eric?
Yeah, that's right. The glasses and everything. We just did a logo for y'all. Logo move. That's right, with the microphone and the headset. So I would love y'all's feedback. Which one? Take a look at it. What do you mean? Which one is Eric? Look at him.
So all right. You want to ask which one?
Right.
So if you're looking at it, who's on the right? You all share that in the chat room.
Right.
Which one, Eric or Tommy, is on the right side?
That's right.
And then who's on the left? You all answer the question. You are
silly.
silly.
So we are giving you options that are slight changes. A, B, C, D. We'd love to have your vote in the chat. And there you go. There you go. And you know, the lines are thinner or thicker. And the font is slightly different. So we like this in general, but if you have a preference A, B, C, D, let us know. And then we will appreciate that. And we're excited about moving ahead. And we had done this the first time and they did some generic silhouettes. And Tom and I said, hey, no, use our silhouettes. And so we had the designer redo this using our silhouettes. And as I looked at it, it's very seldom that I'll see silhouettes that I say, that's us.
Yeah.
But I looked at these and I said, that's us.
Eric, I want to thank you as well, Eric, because, you know, I didn't know that you were going to show this to the community, but I like that we are.
Yeah. We want them to weigh in on what we're doing. We want to keep you all abreast of what we're doing. Lydia, you can take that down. We'll bring it back maybe later on. Yeah. But here's where we're going to go today, that sense of belonging is huge. And I would say to you that in this country, in many ways, people are lacking this feeling of a sense of belonging. Just this last week, I was telling Tommy that I did a training class with one of my clients on sense of belonging, and we really continuously upgrade everything that we do. And so it's an important topic. And so I wanted us to look at a sense of belonging at home, a sense of belonging at work, and a sense of belonging in the community or in the nation. The research says that when people feel this high sense of belonging, things go better for them. If we look at the research on families and at home studies on family dynamics and personal relationships consistently reveal that feeling connected to family members is foundational for emotional security. A supportive home environment enhances self-esteem, reduces stress, and fosters a stable identity. Tommy, what can you say about the importance of people feeling a sense of belonging right there in their families?
I say first, reduces stress, Eric. I have been in a situation a couple to a few times where the home was my home or shared home, but I didn't feel at home. I did not feel a sense of belonging. Right. I felt like I was an outsider in my own home.
Right.
And not just the physical property, but the conversations, the energy and the spirit, the direction that I was going within the construct of the home was different than where other people were going. And so literally we were on different paths, going in actually different directions, not the same direction on different paths, but different paths, different directions. And so my self-esteem, my self-confidence, my identity started to get threatened.
That's right.
I literally, Eric, asked myself a few times, who am I?
Right.
Where am I going? And how do I get there? When you have a sense of belonging, there is clarity around those three questions. Who am I? I start to walk through that, right? Where am I going? You start to have direction. You start to have vision. You're mission driven, right? You're passion driven. And then how do I get there? So you begin to surround yourselves either in your home with the people that you bring into your home, right? Friends, family, co-workers that will increase the energy, as well as cheerleaders in the direction that you're going, right? Because then when people, your neighbors and friends, when they leave your home, they too may be inspired to go into their own homes to get their own direction. So they leave you with a pep talk, a cheer, right? Go get them. Let's go. Off you go. And then they go off and do it.
Right.
And that's that sense of belonging in the home, reduces that stress, creates high sense of identity, and enhances self-esteem.
I love that, Tommy. A sense of worth in your belonging. Thank you, Roger, for that. Tommy Lewis and I feel a sense of belonging here on our show. There is no distance between us in terms of our character, in terms of our appreciation for one another. It's a blessing. It's an unexpected blessing that keeps giving, doesn't it, Tommy?
Yeah.
I mean, it just keeps giving, and it kind of shocks you because we are different enough that there's unique things about us that just always just new little gifts that you get all the time from the relationship. And that's a genuine thing. And we're having people now from all over the world that are reaching out to us to be guests on our show, Diversity Conversations. And we're blown away. Like, what? But it's because we're having such a good time with each other because we love each other and we respect each other. And we're grateful that God put us together.
Yeah, again, remember to like and subscribe if you're joining us via Facebook or any other social media platform. Like, subscribe, hit that bell button to remind you of the time that you need to join us, and reach out to join us. Sure, we have a conversation with me and Eric, but reach out, join us, your voice, and like an image. Again, we're not paying any NIL
fees. Yes.
So
not yet.
You're joining just to share. But with all that being said, Eric, I think you hit on the head with the blessing of us coming together for these shows.
Right.
I constantly take away nuggets, right, in real time.
Same here.
To stay current, right, to even challenge my own thinking.
Right.
There's some topics that I'm less clear about. There are some topics that I'm less familiar about. There are topics that I'm very interested and familiar with. Right. But with our diversity conversations, I have a sense of belonging such that I can be vulnerable.
Right.
Hey, I don't know. I don't like this. Or let me jump in and share a few.
Right.
That's what we have created. I think through grace and blessing.
That's right.
I think organically through us building and learning and loving one another.
That's right.
And I think by the invisible hand.
No doubt about
by
that.
some I'm going to say crazy. I don't think it's crazy, but some crazy
That's right.
plan that God has had for us. Again, question, community. When you look at that sense of belonging, when you're in a space, ask yourself, is this God's plan for you? Because if you find yourself in a space, a place that you no longer feel that sense of belonging, you know it in your core.
Right.
It may be time for you to transition.
Exactly right.
God may have put you in that place for that season, and now you have the reason to leave and continue to grow.
And so this is just awesome that because sense of belonging is so important and oftentimes so rare.
Yeah.
So in the workplace, we're focused on helping the clients that we serve create that sense of belonging for their people. And so I did this training last week, and one of the leaders said, this is the whole ball of wax. It begins and ends here. That if you create a sense of belonging for your team, then all the results that you're looking for in the workplace accelerate. We told them what the myths about belonging, what belonging is not. It's not agreement all the time.
Right.
It's not liking everybody. It's not just being nice. It's not holding people accountable. Belonging is this sense of trust. It's this sense of valuing. I created for them, Tommy, what I call the belonging framework. So that every manager, when they go back to because we have them doing this CARS plan, establishing their commitments, actions, results, and stories. So we said, here's what you can use as a tool to frame up how you think about belonging. Belonging, the framework has three things to it. Number one, it has recognition. So when people feel recognized, that increases their sense of belonging. Number two, when people are included. When people are included by you as the leader, you're thinking about them, you're giving them special jobs, you're including their talent, skill, ability, then they feel a sense of belonging. And then when they're connected with each other. So that's the framework that we offer for leaders as they think about their workplace. Framework is look at recognition. Are people being recognized? Are they being included? Are they connected to one another?
So I want to ask you this question, Eric, both at home, in our personal lives, and at work. So you come to me and I'm in a training, or you're coaching me, or you just see me out on the golf course, or you know me from your family. And I express to you that I don't feel like I belong. Right? I don't feel like I belong. What would you offer me to begin to explore what that means for me, particularly if I say, I don't know what it is, but I just don't feel like I belong. I haven't put my thumb on it. I don't know. So even if I'm in your training, I get the training, but I'm not feeling a certain way. What steps or what would you offer to me to get me on the path toward self-understanding what belonging means to me?
I would start by saying thank you for bringing that to me. Secondly, I would use empathic listening. So I'd say, let me just make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying. So it sounds like what you're saying to me is that you are here recently. You're feeling a sense that you don't really belong. It's a little bit frustrating for you. You can't put your thumb totally on it, but you thought you would at least share that with me, even though you don't have any answers around that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And then when you'd say, yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, then I'd say, well, let's explore some things. Do you have any friends in your team? Or if it's my team, are there any people that you feel really close to? Because the research shows that when people have a best friend at work, that their sense of belonging goes up, their team effectiveness goes up. So I'd be looking for that. A lot of times people think the workplace is you come in the gate, you drop off all your personal things, and you just do the job, and then you, at the end of the day, clock out. But really, we spend more time at work than we do with our families. So making sure that we have friendships in the workplace is important. If I'm your supervisor, I'd say, I know that we've been so caught up with the work that I'm not spending enough time with you. Are there things that I can do that would be helpful to you around coaching, giving you feedback? Are there different kinds of assignments that you'd like to be a part of that we're not? So I would start brainstorming with you. What are some actions that we can take? How are things going at home for you? Are you feeling good? And then sometimes people say, I'm glad you asked. No, my adult parents are living with me now. They're not feeling well. So trying to manage my wife and our relationship and my parents, that's creating a lot of stress. So you just have to start probing. But what you want to do is not answer that for people.
Right.
You want to ask more questions, be more curious, and then brainstorm with them.
I think that's good. That's very, very good, Eric. And I would add that part of it, I think, belonging is a holistic experience. It is your mind, body, and your soul. So from a mental perspective, belonging is that those tactical things, right? Job responsibilities, that being valued by way of opportunities or being included in conversations, etc. The body is one where I can be in a physical space and still not feel like I belong.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we think of schools and hospitals, there are different colors, right, in the school buildings, in the hospitals, that really make those who are in the buildings feel a certain way.
That's good.
So those are senses.
Right.
Right. So you don't want a lot of real dark colors in a hospital. Right. You want lighter, opaque, tan, lighter colors that will elevate one's energy in the space. You belong here.
That's right.
And then the other is just the feeling. It's the emotional side. The emotion is, I don't feel like I belong. Let's acknowledge that. Let's acknowledge the feeling of not belonging.
Right.
And not as much quickly go into the tactical.
Right.
Because Eric, that's what I used to do all the time.
Right. What's the answers here?
I used to really move away quickly from the feeling to get to,
because it's uncomfortable.
Even mistakenly, Eric, going into some blaming or whatever. Like, you should feel like you belong.
Right. All that I've done for you?
Yeah. I mean, you're here, we're here. I'm having a good time.
Right.
You told me you had a good time. Every time, in fact, every time you come to me, it's all good. And then that person says, that's only when I'm working with you. When I'm with anyone else. Right. Just this last week, I spoke to three people who work in organizations. They've been working there. One has been there for a year. The other, a little bit more than 5 years. The other has been there for 20 years. All three of them, after training, they came to me and said, hey, do you have a moment to talk? So give me a little bit. I'll wrap up here and then we'll grab some time. They came back and said, I don't know how long I'm going to make it here.
Right.
That is a statement around belonging.
Absolutely.
I do not know how long I'm going to make it here.
Right.
How long have you been here? 20 years. There's something that's happened over 20 years. It's not just this one moment, one event. Over the time that now, I don't feel like I belong here. Culture shift, demands inside and outside the organization, changing my life situations. But I'm in a season and I'm in winter.
Yeah, this isn't working.
It's working. Acknowledging that feeling, empathic listening, I think is great. And one other thing that you said, Eric, again, I'm paraphrasing, not jumping to solving.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Let's brainstorm together. And I'll tell you that for me, if a person's willing to share with me that I don't feel like I belong, man, I thank them for that. And everything inside of me screams that they've taken the risk to be honest and
Yeah.
to share with me they're not feeling a sense of belonging.
Right.
And I feel very honored that you trusted me to share that. But we're not going further. This is not okay, I'm out of here. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
No, this is something that is important for us to work on. And I'll tell you, Tommy, when I think about our country right now, there are a number of groups that don't feel like they belong.
Absolutely, Eric.
Immigrants,
Yeah.
the immigrant community, man, is really feeling this sense of, I don't know if I belong here.
Yeah.
I'm a citizen. Or the young man at Columbia got a green card. And now, because he was expressing his First Amendment right, they've got him locked up and he may be deported or anything like that. And I'll tell you, Tommy, that for me, when I think about sense of belonging, it goes beyond political for me.
Oh, absolutely.
I want everybody to have this wonderful sense that they belong. I want to create a nation where people belong. I said to a group that I was working with late this last week, I asked them, I said, how many of you will commit with me that you will not allow political differences to drive a wedge between you and your family members, your coworkers and friends? Raise your hands. And I wanted everybody to raise their hands because, Tommy, I don't think this foolishness, we should allow that to separate us from one another and create this hollow feeling of I don't belong.
And for me, Eric, belonging is, again, is personal, it's subjective, and it's human. Belonging is human.
Right.
I don't think politically at all.
Right.
I think it's a human condition.
Right.
Right. And that you can be a loner, if you will.
Yeah.
You can be a recluse, right? If you will. You can be an over extrovert, needing people around you all the time. But the sense of belonging is personal. It's personal.
Right.
And so it's not up to me to tell another person if they are belonging or not.
Right.
If they say they don't have that sense of belonging, then they don't.
Right.
If they say, hey, I feel welcome here, I feel a sense of belonging, I feel maybe even a sense of purpose. Excellent for you.
Right.
How might I assist? How might I support, contribute to increasing that sense of X? But it's not a tactical strategy, right? Belonging is that if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, then at the end you will belong. That's not it.
It's not that simple.
It's not that simple at all. Again, I'm reflecting on the stories that I have. I've been in companies, I've worked for companies that I absolutely did not feel like I belonged.
Right.
Right. And I would literally pray in the parking lot in my car to go into the building, put on my good morning smile, right? Take elevators up, to the, like the Jeffersons. I'm living up here, go to my office or my cubicle, sometimes my little square, and kind of go through the motions of surviving every day. And in one instance, that daily survival was 2.5 years.
Right.
And I was losing myself, not having the courage to say, 2.5 years ago, I felt like I didn't belong, but I'm working here. And why am I here? It was because of money.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And I thought, really? I don't have enough self-worth to be able to leverage my skills, my experiences.
To get up out of here?
To get up and go and get the same money or less or more, but don't allow, I did not want to pay or get paid to be unhappy.
Right.
My salary was paying for my unhappiness.
Right.
My sense of lack of belonging. And I had to make the decision to say, no, I'm not going to get paid to be mad.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
I can do that for free.
I can do that for free.
Yeah. And let me go get it. So my daughter, this is her third professional job now. The first two, she came in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to change the world. I'm out of college. I got my MBA. Let's go. Customers are loving me. but my team is not. My supervisor is not. My supervisors may be envious of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because of a lack of belonging, my whole attitude has gone down. And now she's at her third corporation, Coca-Cola, and loving it, and just thrilled, feeling a high sense of belonging, being valued by her coworkers, has really raised her entire opinion in life. I mean, she's just feeling better about life because she has a high sense of belonging. And that's what we want for you, community, is we want to encourage you to strive for that high sense of belonging, where you feel like you're part of something, that you can make a difference, that you're glad to be there. And if that's not the case, I know a lot of people that, you know, for many women in corporate America that are working on male-dominated teams, some of them will go hang out in the restroom just so that they don't have to be in that space. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've gone to events where I was the speaker. And all of the small talk and preliminary things. Sometimes, even though I'm an extrovert, I don't really want to go to those. Because I don't know anybody and people are talking shop. And I feel like I'm just sort of meandering up to one group and another. And if they don't know I'm the speaker, it's like, I mean, if they're talking here, Tommy, and I'm there, they're just like,
nudge you out.
I mean, it just, I don't even think they notice it.
Right.
But they've literally blocked you out. And you're like, oh, okay.
All right.
And then you had to meander away, hope nobody saw that. And so sense of belonging is important. And what I want to do in life, especially when I'm conscious of it, Tommy, is I want to create the kind of space that welcomes people in and says that I respect you and you belong.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a question, Eric, in that same vein. You're engaging in a conversation. And community, you can chime in as well. I invite you to chime in. You're engaging in a conversation. How do you dismount a conversation that you no longer want to be a part of? What community? What's your approach, Eric? What's your approach?
That's good, Tommy. Well, I'm probably not the best at that.
All right.
I might exit abruptly. Sorry. This isn't feeling good. And my brain screams out, time is money. It's valuable. This does not feel good.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, somebody even called me on it yesterday. I was, we were at the game, and they were trying to tell me an in-depth story, but the game is going on. So I'm not trying to miss not one play. So my eye contact left them
and floated away.
And I really like the person. I'm gone, bro.
Gone.
You are talking right. Boom. Tommy. So I am not the best at handling that. I'm trying to get better. But there's so much in our lives that, and I'm going to say this, I got to get better at that. I'm not going to, justify it. People are important, and I think you owe them the eye contact and the language if you're going to transition. But I'm not always good at that, Tom.
Yeah, I'm learning as well, Eric. My style of dismounting conversations that I no longer want to be a part of has evolved over the years. Right. I was at a place sometime that I would, non-verbally, I would have that look of disgust. Right.
What are you talking about?
What are we talking about here? Right. And if I say it that way, sometimes the person would double down. You're unclear, Tommy. So let me stay with you another 45 minutes to explain. So although I leaned in like,
if I got to do 45 more,
so I'm trapped in. Others like, you know what? I see that you're not interested. So before, Eric, I was giving the person the out. Remember, the question is, how do you dismount a conversation that you no longer want to be a part of? but I was giving the other person the out to stay in the conversation
Right.
or leave. Now, in my season, I am, and Eric, as my witness, our golf club and the men that we golf with, those older, seasoned men, I've learned from them. They tell you they're done. All right, that's it for me. I've learned just to say it.
Right.
When I'm dismounting,
Right.
with all due respect,
Right.
hey, that's it for me. Or some form
Right.
of acknowledging that I am leaving the
Right.
conversation.
Right.
And I'm not leaving it up to question, whereby you follow me, you double or triple down on the conversation, right? I'm involved in a lot of inappropriate conversations, E. They just pop up. I don't ask them all the time. And
I'm trapped.
And we're big boys and big girls.
Right.
But there's been conversations like, yeah, this is a conversation I do not want to have.
Right.
And I used to suffer in it.
Right. Suffer in it.
So now, even if there's a joke that I don't want to laugh at, I don't laugh and I dismount. Right. My beloved wife, Penny, if she's in a conversation that she does not want to be a part of, she simply walks away. Penny is something else, boy. She won't give you a heads up. She won't give you a head nod.
Pivot.
She won't give you any verbal indication that it's about the wrap. She would just.
You heard my closing line.
I'm walking away.
Right.
And if you follow her, she'll turn. You see, I'm done.
Right.
I was walking away. I'm done. Now you're
now
done.
you'll get some words.
Those are back into that. Social cues. Some of us, we have to work on this because that sense of belonging, Eric, as you're saying, you're trying to get in the conversation,
right?
And they see
nudge you out.
And they nudge you out,
right?
That's intentional,
right?
They may not know it, but they nudge,
right?
So if you are in an environment that everyone is nudging you out, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, they're nudging you out every step of the way. How do you dismount the lack of belonging conversation with yourself?
Right.
Everybody's telling you, you don't belong. You don't belong. You don't belong. You don't belong. And you're still trying to squeeze
get in. No. I told you.
Dismount, E.
Right.
Dismount.
Right. And I'm going to second that. You want to make sure that you're investing yourself and your time in the places where it is right for you to be, and you have a sense of belonging. Tommy talked about the wrong conversation. Sometimes there are a lot of tactics that you can use to dismount a conversation that's a wrong conversation. Somebody's telling jokes that are inappropriate. Change the subject. Or just say, hey, I think, I had to go do something else. But what we want to encourage you mostly is to look at what are the skills, the tools, the justification for trying to make sure that you're creating a sense of belonging for other people. That's really where I'm at, Tommy, is that I can't always control what other people do, but I can control what I do. And what I'm trying to do on my good days is I'm trying to be that kind of person that people feel like they belong when they're around me. Tommy, a big thing for me is not judging people based upon their title or their position.
Right.
I don't like myself if I'm ever giving greater levels of respect for people because of their title or their position. I want to be the person that creates that sense of belonging for people that don't have a big title and they're just good folk. Or even not good folk. So I'm working on that. I'll tell you, it's hard on me if they're negative and not good people. Then there's something in me that matches that energy.
Yes, sir.
And I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to work on that. But if you come to me with some negative energy, now what I'm telling my children is where I've grown to is that I now have to protect my own self. So you don't deserve my frustration or my negative comments or even my negative feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't invest any of that in negative energy because it costs me to do that. So I just say, hey, I see, I just pivot.
Yeah.
I pivot with a smile. And I pivot with a smile and a genuine thought about you. Because even if I harbor the negative thought about you, that's costing me.
Yes.
So as I mature, not there totally, but as I mature, I'm trying to go to this place. If you dislike me and I haven't really done anything to you, it's not really about me.
Yeah.
This may be about what's happening in your life. And what I've discovered is that sometimes if you say, hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? People will say, man, I'm glad you, I'm sorry about how I've been acting. I just got a lot going on today. And then they'll break into telling you what's going on, Tommy. And I just say to God, thank you for giving me the patience to react to what was coming at me.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't really them. That was them reacting to what's happening in their lives. And so Tommy and I at Diversity Conversations, we're trying to raise the level of our character, that we're not just always reacting to what's coming at us, but we're seeing beyond that to say, what can I do to be a better person myself and to maybe probe around what's happening with you?
Yeah, the right question says this. Our approach is always connection before content. Connection before content. And that connection, I think, happens in different ways. And sometimes we have to have the ability to connect within ourselves to be able to connect with other people. There's an old speaking adage is that when you speak from the heart, you reach the heart, right? So when we're connecting with someone, if they are expressing an emotion and you have emotions, connect with that. Now, it doesn't always mean match it.
Right.
I too match it, but understand and acknowledge and value the emotion.
Right.
If someone is having a conversation with you or trying to have a conversation and it may be transactional. In other words, they may be trying to get something out of you, get something from you.
Yep.
Right? Then understand that perspective, because I believe that all of us at one time in our life has had a need and has asked someone to help. So people come to me and you, Eric, and say, hey, I see you're a business person. Do you have 5 minutes? Do you have an hour to meet with me? Because I'm trying to start my business. That's transactional. That's for them. So I have to, hold on, let me make the connection, right? Because I'm like, nah, I get paid to give advice and I worked 20 or 30 years for this. Slow down, Tommy.
Right. That's
Slow
right.
down.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Make the
That's
connection.
good, Tommy.
Right.
Right.
Let's grab, can't do an hour. Can we do 30 minutes? Can't do it in person. Can we do it virtual? Right. We're getting to that agreement. We land on a 30-minute virtual call and we have superior content. There's been times I've said, yeah, we'll meet virtually 30 minutes. Can you send me an agenda? Right. I don't want to waste your time at all. I say that. Right. And they give me a 3-point agenda. I do some research because now I'm feeling like I have an action item. I get my 3 pieces of feedback, thoughts, get to the session. How can I help you?
That's right.
The call, right? So now it's around content, but the connection is human to human, business person to business person, right? Need to need. You have a need, I do too.
Right. What Tommy has just said, I'll try to reiterate and say it in a different way. To some extent, Tommy, I hear you saying pay it forward.
Yes, sir.
That when we are engaged with somebody that's doing something that's transactional, trying to get something from us, and we're literally saying, really? But you're saying shift your attitude and pay it forward and prepare to deliver the best that you can to that person because you can. Because you can. The thing that we want to say to you, community, as we wrap up this session, that I'm so grateful that Tommy Lewis encouraged me lightly to be a part of, is that we are grateful to have you as a part of our community. We don't take you for granted. Whenever you say something here, it matters to us. And so we're grateful for that. We want to ensure that you have a sense that you belong here. when your name shows up, sometimes we'll try to mention that because we're grateful that you've joined us. I'm going to ask Lydia to bring up our logos one more time. I don't think Tracy, love you. Glad to have you here. Yeah, I said earlier, Tracy, that your sister and all my babies are gone. They took Jillian to Chicago, and I'm just as sad as I could be. That's almost why I was going to sleep in today, and Tommy rescued me. It was just me and Penny there sleeping in, and Tommy said, well, maybe you might want to show up. But these are our logos for Diversity Conversations. We'd like your judgment. Put it right in the chat, A, B, C, or D, whichever one is the preference for you. The logo itself is the same. That's Tommy, Lewis, and Eric. We're in there. That's us. Yeah. We've changed the thickness of the line and the font. So we would value your input. But again, we thank you, and we want you to know that you do belong. Tommy?
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Again, kudos to Lydia, our producer. You all can't see her, but she is working feverishly behind the scenes.
Yes.
We know that. And I say to Eric, because you say, hey, Lydia, can you pull up the logos? And they show up. Right. She's working. Right. Just like we are. We're having a conversation. We don't keep going. Again, folks are saying D. A couple of folks saying A. Let us know. And so thanks, Gary, Roger. Right. We're getting the gamut. Right. We get if someone throw in C, then we're gonna.
That's right. We got them all. So now it's back to us. And I like tweaking with things, and so I told Tommy that we won't start until both of us are thrilled. And so we're probably going to tweak these a little bit more, maybe even bring some color into them, try some other kinds of things, and we'll ultimately have several logos that we have to choose from. But again, thank you all for your participation, and we're looking forward to next week's Diversity Conversation. Take care.
Man.
Love y'all.
Yeah.